On this edition of the Heel Tough Blog Podcast, we check in with former North Carolina Tar Heels linebacker Joseph Jackson.
Hey Anthony, how you doing?
Good, man. Yeah, so you got a little time to chat with us real quick?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Let's talk.
All right, man. Yeah, so I think a lot of people kind of know a little bit about the story, of kind of what happened, but kind of just explain to us, the nature of what happened with the injury during the South Carolina game, because, we really didn't get, a ton of information on it from Coach Fedora, who we know, kind of likes to keep injuries under wraps.
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially what happened is the condition was called spinal stenosis. And because of that, it caused me to have a bulging disc. So long story short, throughout spring ball, actually, I had been experiencing quite a bit of pain in my neck. And I kind of just thought it was, one of those little nicking, nagging injuries because it was kind of in my trap area. And, of course, it wasn't as significant because in spring, it was only, 3 practices a day, maybe a Saturday scrimmage or something like that.
Right.
So I kind of just pushed through it, fought through it. Tried to ice it, tried to get some type of, massage treatment or cupping for it. And while some of that kind of, masked it a tad bit, it was still much very there. And as we kind of progressed into the season, to training camp, and into the first game, I really began to feel it a lot. And it really got to be more of a nuisance, more of a problem for me. So fast forward, we get into the first game, and we're making full contact. This is our first time actually competing against some really good opponents. And, just hit after hit after hit after hit. It gets worse and worse and worse. And it gets to a point at halftime where I'm kind of like, whoa, do I need to go get a cortisone shot? Like, this is hurting pretty bad. And I keep fighting through it, and eventually we get to the end of the game, and I'm getting back on the bus, and my arm is in excruciating pain. I can't. It's to the point now to where I can't even lift up my arm.
Oh man!
And it was kind of at that point where I knew something was wrong with me. And we went into the next day for treatments and just kind of follow-ups on that Sunday. And I had the doctor check it out, Dr. Shakeel, and he definitely could tell something was wrong. So immediately from there, we started scheduling different appointments to see specialists, and that's kind of when I got the news.
Yeah, man, that's just unbelievable. And that's just sensational then that you were actually able to somehow beat those guys out in camp, and you actually were the starter for that game against South Carolina. So, you talked about, finding out, what was your initial reaction, and, kind of how long did it just take you to kind of come to terms with the fact that you weren't going to be able to play football anymore?
I get that question all the time. So to be honest with you, and it was kind of crazy because I went to the specialist office right down the street, actually, and I got to speak with him. And kind of just on the ride there, I was with our head athletic trainer at the time. His name was Kenny Boyd, and we were driving down, and I just kind of had this thought in the back of my mind, what if I get in this office and this doctor tells me that I can't play football anymore? How am I going to react? How's my life going to be changed? What's next if this happens? And it kind of just crazy because I had that forethought. And sure enough, I got into the office and we really started diving into the details. We go through the MRI and it looks bad. And sure enough, after he kind of concludes his report, he tells me, he says, Joe, to be honest with you, I don't recommend that you play football anymore. And at that point, it was kind of like, whoa, I just kind of like sunk down in my chair. And on the entire ride back to the stadium and back to the school, I just was thinking to myself, what is life going to be about, or what is life going to be like after this? Because you got to think, for us, at the time of student athletes, we've been playing ball for, 15, 14 years.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
So that's really all we knew. But to be honest with you, I'll be honest, it was a very smooth transition. I'll be honest with you. I think one of the things that just made it so smooth was me being able to find my identity in God, if I'm just being very honest with you. It really allowed me to see myself as more than just a football player. It allowed me to see myself as an athlete, but also as someone who could academically excel as well and do pretty good in the regular world.
Yeah,
So
man.
while it did have its challenges, its trials, it really was a smooth transition because I knew who I really was at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, it definitely seems to be working out. So yeah, where are you at now? What are you kind of doing now that you've kind of stepped away and you have graduated from UNC, correct?
Yes, I did. I graduated in May 16th.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's awesome, man. So yeah, definitely proud and just great to see that you're doing well. So yeah, we've kind of been focusing a little bit more somber, but I mean, definitely just walk us through the emotions when you found out, man, that Coach Fedora was going to start you for that first game of the year against South Carolina, which was a big opponent for us. I mean, I would just kind of walk us through what you were feeling.
Yeah, it was crazy when I got the news, just because it had been something that I had been working for so hard. I had been fighting for that entire year and the year before, and just to really see all of that hard work manifest, it was crazy. It was an emotion that I really can't describe. To be honest, I was in disbelief for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
just because it seemed like I had been trying to climb this mountain and fight this giant for so long, and hey, I actually wound up winning.
Yeah, I mean, and then of course, that season ends up becoming really a historic season. Despite the fact of not being able to be on the field, I know you were with the team. Just how exciting was that for you guys, and really just for the team in general, to be able to put up 11 wins and go to the Russell Athletic Bowl, and at a time, coming into the ACC title game, having a chance to possibly be in the college football playoff.
It was crazy, believe it or not. It was so crazy. I mean, because literally the year before that, we won maybe like 5 or 6 games. And, I mean, to be honest, we took the same group of players and literally went. I mean, it was just indescribable to really put in words what happened that year. We all really gelled. And just being able to see a lot of those guys develop, like Jeff Schoettmer and Rashad, and just a lot of the leaders we saw on that team, step into their roles. It was crazy. And to be honest, we did have a shot at the college playoff, and it was just a fun ride. I'll say that it was a fun ride.
Well, it's got to be a fun ride with those guys that you got right there, man. Jeff Schoettmer and Shaq Rashad, man. Those are two characters right there. Just talk about that group of linebackers that you guys had there, and just the bond that you guys have.
Yeah, believe it or not, so it extended so much further than just the field. I mean, we were all friends off the field, constantly laughing, constantly joking, but also there were plenty of times where we were helping each other with our work as well. So it was a connection that extended much further than that. And to be honest, me and Shaq are from the same home city.
Right.
We're both from Jacksonville, Florida, so we knew each other before coming to Carolina. And it's kind of been an ongoing relationship. I actually just talked to him maybe like 4 nights ago. He was kind of telling me his deal and his situation in life now and all that he's doing and excelling in. So it's always great to chat with them and catch up as well. Yeah,
man. So, I mean, you just talked about it. You're from Jacksonville. That's an area really that's coming along in terms of high school football. Just when you were there, did you see that sort of growth that was coming? And, I mean, the Tar Heels have really focused in that area. Is that, I don't know, is that something that, you were proud of, that being from there?
Absolutely. So Jacksonville, and it's kind of been always this stigma about North Florida. Everybody kind of always wanted to go to South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and get athletes. But over the past, I would say, 8 years, North Florida has really come into play. You see so many programs developing. I mean, at the time, I went to First Coast High School. I mean, we reached the state playoffs my year. Trinity Christian is a really big school down there now. A lot of times playing a lot of national games, national teams, winning. Raines High School actually just won the state championship down there in Jacksonville, Florida. So it's a city that's definitely on the rise with a lot of programs that are really giving young kids an opportunity to go to school.
Yeah, okay, so last question to wrap it up here. We've been asking all these different guys this question. I've had a couple of guys on, and we've heard what Joel Berry said a little while ago, that he doesn't consider NC State our rival. Being that you are part of UNC Athletics and that you have played in both rivalries before, do you consider State to be a rival, or do you think that Duke is our only rival, like Joel Berry says?
Okay. So this is a great question.
Yeah, it's hard hitting on here, man. You thought this was going to be easy, man. You gotta be,
This is a great question. I will say that while there is some tension with State, it's always some tension when it's an in-state game, whether it be ECU, NC State, Duke, or App. I will say that Duke is by far our rival at Carolina.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought, and that's kind of been the consensus. I mean, I asked Jay Stackhouse, and he said, yeah, that State's an afterthought. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, yeah, man. Hey, thanks for doing this, and, yeah, we'll definitely have to have you on sometime after this, and we'll definitely keep tabs on you, man. We're glad you're doing so well, and, I'm just glad that we are able to sit down and definitely, yeah, just keep hitting me up on Messenger, and we'll be talking throughout the season, man, all right?
All right, sounds good. You take care, Anthony, okay?
All right, you too, man.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.